to Madame Raven's. This way to the library. She's been expecting you.
Hello, my darlings. Today I have another little group of fairy stories from Thomas Knightley, the fairy mythology, illustrative of the romance and superstition of various countries. And I thought today we would tackle some water creatures, starting with Mermaids and Merman. And I am not going to attempt to read the original of this by Stagnellus, but I'll read the English translation. The neck. No more upon the river sings, and no mermaid to beach their linen flings upon the waves in the mild solar ray. It is a prevalent opinion in the north that all various beings of the popular creed were once worsted in a conflict with superior powers and condemned to remain till doomsday in certain assigned abodes. The dwarves, or hill berg trolls, were appointed the hills, the elves, the groves and leafy trees, the hill people, hog folk. Wonder if that's where Pratchett got it. The caves and caverns, the mermen, mermaids and necks, the sea, lakes and rivers, the rivermen, stormacal, small waterfalls. Oh, those are interesting guys, let me tell ya. They are the male version of sirens. Both the Catholic and Protestant clergy have endeavored to excite an aversion to these beings, but in vain. They are regarded as possessing considerable power over man and nature. And it is believed that though now unhappy, they will eventually be saved. For fa forløsning, getting salvation, as it is expressed. The neck, in Danish nokke, is a river spirit. The ideas respecting him are various. Sometimes he is represented as sitting on summer nights on the surface of the water, like a pretty little boy with golden hair hanging in ringlets and a red cap on his head. Sometimes as above the water, like a handsome young man, but beneath a horse. And at other times, like an old man with a long beard, out of which he wrings the water as he sits on the cliffs. In this last form, Odin, according to the Icelandic sagas, has sometimes revealed himself. The neck is very severe against any haughty maiden who makes an ill return to the love of her wooer, but should he himself fall in love with a maid of humankind, he is the most polite and attentive suitor in the world. Though he is thus severe only against those who deserve it, yet country people, when they are upon the water, use certain precautions against his power. Metals, particularly steel, are believed to bind the neck, bindenecken, and when going on the open sea, they usually put a knife in the bottom of the boat or set a nail in a reed. In Norway, the following charm is considered effectual against the neck. Nick nick nal I vante. Jormorfru Maria Casta Stella I vanten. Du sok ak fleet. Neck, neck, nail in the water. The Virgin Mary casteth steel in the water. Do you sink? I flit. The neck is a great musician. He sits on the water and plays on his golden harp, the harmony of which operates on all nature. To learn music of him, a person must present him with a black lamb and also promise him resurrection and redemption. I'm not sure how they're going to follow through with that, but okay. The following story is told in all parts of Sweden. 2 boys were one time playing near a river that ran by their father's house. The Neck rose and sat on the surface of the water, and played his harp. But one of the children said to him, "What is the use, Neck, of your sitting there and playing? You will never be saved." The Neck then began to weep bitterly, flung away his harp, and sank down to the bottom. The children went home and told the whole story to their father, who was the parish priest. He said that they were wrong to say so to the Neck, and desired them to go immediately back to the river and console him with the promise of salvation. They did so, and when they came down to the river, the Neck was sitting on the water, weeping and lamenting. They then said to him, "Neck, do not grieve so. Our father says that your Redeemer liveth also." The Neck then took his harp and played most sweetly until long after the sun was gone down. This legend was also found in Denmark, but in a less agreeable form. A clergyman, it is said, was journeying one night to Roskilde in Zealand. His way led by a hill, which I think I know people in Roskilde. Anyway, he was led by a hill in which there was music and dancing and great merriment going forward. Some dwarves jumped suddenly out of it, stopped the carriage, and asked whither he was going. He replied to the synod of the church. They asked him if he thought they could be saved. To that he replied he could not give an immediate answer. They then begged that he would give them a reply by next year. When the next year passed, they made the same demand, and he replied, "No, you are all damned." Scarcely had he spoken the word when the whole hill appeared in flames. In another form of this legend, a priest said to the Neck, "Sooner will this cane which I hold in my hand grow green flowers than thou shalt attain salvation." The Neck, in grief, flung away his harp and wept, and the priest rode on. But soon his cane began to put forth leaves and blossoms. Then he went back to communicate the glad tidings to the Neck, who now joyously played on all the entire night. Okay, and we have a poem here, The Power of the Harp. Little Kirsten wept in her bower all day. Sir Peter in his courtyard is playing so gay. My heart's own dear, tell me wherefore you grieve. Grieve you for saddle, or grieve you for steed, or grieve you for that I have you wed? My heart's own dear, tell me wherefore you grieve. And grieve do I not for saddle or steed, and grieve do I not for all that you have wed. Much more do I grieve for my fair gold hair, which in the blue waves shall be stained today. Much more do I grieve for Ringfalla flood, in which have been drowned my two sisters proud. It was laid out for me in my infancy that my wedding day should prove heavy to me. And I shall make them the horse round shoe, and he shall not stumble on his 4 gold shoes. 12 of my courtiers shall before thee ride, 12 of my courtiers upon each side. But when they were come to Ringfalla wood, they spotted a hart with gilded horns proud. And all the courtiers after the hart had gone, little Kirsten must proceed alone. And when on Ringfalla bridge she goes, her steed he stumbled on his 4 gilded shoes. 4 gold shoes and 30 gold nails, and the maid into the swift stream falls. Sir Peter spoke to his footage so, "Thou must for my gold harp instantly go." The first stroke on his gold harp he gave, the foul ugly Neck sat and laughed on the wave. The second time the gold harp he swept, the foul ugly Neck on the wave sat and wept. The third stroke on the gold harp he rang, little Kirsten reached up her snow-white arm. He played the bark off from the high trees, he played little Kirsten back on his knees. And the Neck he out of the waves came there, and the proud maiden on each arm he bare. My heart's own dear, tell me wherefore you grieve. The Stormkalla, called in Norway Grim or Fossagrim, Waterfall Grim, is a musical genius like the Neck. Like him too, when properly propitiated. Sorry, I'm going to leave that in because that was a difficult word. He communicates his art, the sacrifice, also a black lamb, which the offerer must present with averted head, and on a Thursday evening. If it is poor, the pupil gets no further than the tuning of his instrument. If it is fat, the Stromkall seizes the Voltar by the right hand and swings it backward and forward till the blood runs out at the finger ends. The aspirant is then enabled to play in such a masterly manner that the trees dance and waterfalls stop at his music. The Havamond, or Merman, is described as of a handsome form, with green or black hair and beard. He dwells either in the bottom of the sea or in the cliffs and hills near the seashore, and is regarded as rather a good and beneficent kind of being. The Havfru, or mermaid, is represented in popular tradition as a good and at other times evil and treacherous being, kind of like a human. She is beautiful in her appearance. Fishermen sometimes see her in the bright summer sun, when a thin mist hangs over the sea, sitting on the surface of the water, and combing her long golden hair with a golden comb, or driving up her snow-white cattle to feed on the strands and small islands. At other times she comes as a beautiful maiden, chilled and shivering with the cold of the night, to the fires and the fishers have kindled, hoping by this means to entice them to her love. Her appearance prognosticates both storm and ill success in their fishing. People are drowned, and whose bodies are not found, are believed to be taken to the dwelling of the mermaids. This being is also supposed to have powers of foretelling future events. A mermaid, we are told, prophesies the birth of Christian IV of Denmark and Sinclair's Vista. A mermaid from the water rose and spade Sir Sinclair ill. Fortune-telling has been in all countries a gift of the sea people. We need hardly mention the prophecies of Nereus and Proteus. Actually, nowadays we probably do, but we're going to skip over that for right now. A girl one time fell into the power of a Havafru, or mermaid, and passed 15 years in her submarine abode without ever seeing the sun. At length her brother went down in quest of her, and succeeded in bringing her back to the upper world. The Havafru waited for 7 years, expecting her return, but when she did not come back, she struck the water with her staff, and made it boil up, and cried, "I had but known thee so false to be, thy thriving neck I'd have cracked for thee." Which reminds me of the Irish story of the soul cages. I'll have to see if that's in this book. If it's not, look up Soul Cages by Sting. That's a lovely song. Duke Magnus and the Mermaid. Duke Magnus looked out through the castle window, how the stream ran so rapidly, and there he saw how upon the stream sat a woman most fair and lovely. Duke Magnus, plight thee to me. I pray you still so freely. Say me not nay, but yes, yes. Can I just pause here and say how many folklore stories and fairy tales are just based on lust, I suppose. They just see somebody attractive and nothing else matters. Okay. Oh, to you I will give a traveling ship, the best that a knight would guide, and goeth as well on water as on firm land, and through the fields also wide. Oh, to be you I will give a courtier courser, gray, the best that a knight could ride. He goeth as well on waters as on firm land, and through the groves all so wide. Oh, how should I plight me to you? I never any quiet get. I will serve the knight and my native land, but the woman I match me not yet. To you I will give as much of gold as for more than your life will endure, and of pearls and precious stones handfuls, and all shall be so pure. I gladly would plight me to thee if thou wert a Christian kind, but thou art a vile sea-troll. My love canst never win. Duke Magnus, bethink thee well, and answer not so haughtily, for if thou wilt not plight thee to me, thou shalt ever crazy be. I am a king's son so good, how can I let you gain me? You dwell not on land, but in the flood, which would not with me agree. Duke Magnus, plight thee to me, I offer you still so freely. Say me not nay, but yes, yes. And in the northern islands. The neck here is his harp in his glass castle plays. The mermaidens comb out their green hair always, and bleach here their shining white clothes. And it looks like the soul cages is not in this book. So quoth this raven. Have a lovely Thursday, my darlings. Thank you so kindly for stopping by my chateau, my darlings. It does mean so much to me. Please, if you have not subscribed, as many of you have not, please do so. Give me a like so I know what you would like to hear. And comment. I always love to read your comments. And special thanks to my Patreon and membership supporters. Ciao, darlings.